to Acts chapter 27. Sister Debbie didn't have a clue, as always, about what I was going to preach until right before service, and they were practicing that song that they just sang. But it goes right along with the message that I'm preaching this morning, and probably tonight as well, because I doubt I'll get finished. But it shows you how the Lord directs our steps. Acts 27, starting with verse 1. And when it was determined that we should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus' band. And entering into a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coast of Asia, one Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. And the next day we touched at Sidon, and Julius courteously entreated Paul and gave him liberty to go unto his friends to refresh himself. And when we had launched from thence, we sailed under Cyprus, because the winds were contrary. And when we had sailed over the sea of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra, a city of Lycia. And there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy, and he put us therein. And when we had sailed slowly many days, and scarce were come over against Cnidus, the wind not suffering us, we sailed under Crete over against Salmone. And hardly passing it, came into a place which is called the Fair Havens, nigh whereunto was the city of Lycia. Now when much time was spent, and when sailing was now dangerous, because the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them, and said unto them, Sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not only of the lading and the ship, but also of our lives. Nevertheless, the centurion believed the master and the owner of the ship more than those things which were spoken by Paul. And because the haven was not commodious to winter in, the more part advised to depart thence, also if by any means they might attain to Phoenicia. And there to winter, which is an haven of Crete, and lieth toward the southwest and northwest. And when the south wind blew softly, supposing that they had obtained their purpose, loosing thence, they sailed close by Crete. But not long after there arose against it a tempestuous wind called Euroclydon. And when the ship was caught and could not bear up under the wind, we let her drive. And running under a certain island which is called Clauda, we had much work to come by the boat, which when they had taken up, they used helps undergirding the ship, and fearing lest they should fall into the quicksands, strake sail, and so were driven. And we being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. And the third day we cast out with our own hands the tackling of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was taken away. But after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, Sirs, ye should have hearkened unto me, and not have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. Now I exhort you to be of good cheer. For there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God that it shall be even as it was told me. You may go to your seat. Everybody wants to ride in fair weather. Everybody wants a fun ride. Nobody wants to endure the storm. Stormy weather wears a person down. There are worse storms than hurricanes and tornadoes. There's worse situations than death. And when you're in the middle of a storm, it's not the time to give up. When you're hit the hardest is not the time to throw in the towel. It's the time to hang in there. When it appears you're about to lose the battle is a time to stay on board and don't jump ship. I'm preaching to somebody today who's in the middle of a storm. Somebody's about to make up your mind whether you're going to sink or swim. Somebody is about to decide whether you're going to fish or cut bait. And you need to know it's always early to quit. It's always way too early to quit. So I'm going to preach on the topic for a little while this morning. Don't jump ship in the middle of the storm. Don't jump ship in the middle of the storm. Now, this text comes from a book in the Bible that has not been concluded. It comes from the action book of the Scriptures. It comes from the 5th book in the New Testament, Acts. A book that gives us a guide for the church today. It would do you good if you got into the book of Acts. It will bless you from the first chapter all the way to the end and beyond. It's comprised of 28 chapters, 887 verses, and it's not accidental that this book is where it is. It's significant that it's in the location that it is in the Bible. Acts is in the right place. It's located right behind the 4 Gospels. Once you have heard and received the gospel, then it's time for you to act. Once you've read and received the gospel, then it's time for you to act upon what you have received. The book of Acts really addresses the activities of the early church as well as the actions and the activities of the early saints. It tells how the early Christians acted. And when you are a Christian, you need to watch how you act. If you act wrongly, it can damage your testimony and the kingdom of God. I was visiting somebody this week, and as I was talking to them, they began to tell me how they were trying to quit smoking. And they had gotten down to 2 packs a day. And they're trying their best to quit smoking. And as I'm talking a little bit later, as I start to leave, they said, well, you know, I'm an evangelist. I said, you can't be an evangelist when you're smoking. Well, you know, God's word won't return void. I said, yes, it won't return void. But also it tells us that bitter water and sweet water doesn't come out of the same fountain. Church, it's time we stand up and start telling people. It's time we start acting upon what God has done within our lives. It's time we start acting the way God wants us to act. That's the reason I have trouble with the church singing and dressing and acting like the world. What's the difference? People look at us and say, what's the difference between you and the world? You better watch your activities inside and outside the church. You better pay attention how you act, how you walk, how you talk, how you live, how you dress. There is a difference. God is concerned about our acts. Jesus said in Matthew 5 and verse 14, ye are the light of the world. A city that's set up on a hill cannot be hid. He goes on and says, neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. That's what we used to sing as kids, walking around talking about this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine. But now we've grown up and we're too big to sing that kind of song. But the song is the truth. We need to let our light shine. Let your light shine before men. It doesn't matter how you talk about it. It's worthless unless you act it. There's a lot of folks who talk a good game, but they can't live it. A lot of folks who want you to think that they're living right when in reality they're wolves in sheep's clothing. The particular story we read today in Acts is one of a great miracle God performed to save an ungodly crew of cursing sailors and an apostle born out of due time. The apostle Paul's life was filled with tragedy and triumph. Paul was in trouble in this part, the beginning part of this story. He was in trouble. He was in serious trouble, life-threatening trouble, trouble that placed not only his life, but the life of the sailors around him in trouble. They were caught on the high seas on a small ship in the midst of a horrible storm. Now understand, I'm fixing to get to you. I'm fixing to get to where you are. But you need to know that this was not the only trouble that Paul was in. He was in trouble before the storm. He had been arrested and he was on his way to Rome to stand trial for his life. Now that's trouble. That's trouble. But before he can get to Rome, he's been captive on a ship, caught in the middle of a turbulent, a tempestuous wind, a life-threatening storm, and that's more trouble. He started out with trouble. Now he's got more trouble. Somebody knows that before you can put one problem to rest, you find yourself in the middle of 4 or 5 or 6 more troubles. The problems of life come so fast that they compound themselves sometimes. Brother Job knew what I'm talking about. If you don't know, Brother Job did. Job was assaulted by a series of problems and troubles that came one right after the other. He hadn't gotten over the trauma and the terrible impact of the first problem before he was hit with the second problem. And before he could come to grips with the first and the second problem and get them together, he was assaulted by the third one. And the problems kept on coming, and they kept on coming, and they kept on coming. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of dating myself, and you'll understand, but you remember the old ad of the little girl on the Morton salt as she was walking with that Morton salt in her arm, and the salt was pouring out behind her, and it said, when it rains, it pours. Isn't that the way life is? Isn't that the way troubles are? Job wrestled with problems of monumental proportions. And when those kinds of problems start coming, the devil starts putting bad thoughts into your mind how to get out of those problems. Don't listen to him. I said, don't listen to him. When problems come, don't you even entertain the thought of killing yourself or committing suicide. When those problems come, don't you even think of turning to drugs in order to get away from your problem. When those problems come, don't you even think of turning to the bottle to wash away those troubles. Don't you even think of turning to the baser way of life to get your mind on vulgar things. If you do, you're going to end up in worse trouble. Take a visit to Job's house and you'll see what trouble's all about. I've had trouble. You've had trouble. We know what we're facing, what we're going through at times, but they can never be equated with Job's troubles. I can never equate what I've gone through to Brother Job. First of all, I've never had 10 kids. In the second place, I've never had to bury 10 kids at one time. I've never lost everything that I had in an instant's time or at any other time. I've lost some things here and there. I've lost this and I've been able to hold on to that, but never lost everything. Job lost everything that he had. Everything. We think we've got it bad. We're living in turbulent times. We're living in a wicked world. Look around you. Political strife everywhere. The transgender agenda is being pushed upon us. The media is trying to stir up all kinds of racism, and the money doesn't go as far as it used to go, and our possessions and groceries are higher, and inflation's high. We've never had trouble like we've had, but it still can't compare to what Job went through. Likewise, Paul was in serious trouble. Back before they set sail from the island of Crete, Paul told the captain, I don't think you need to make this journey, at least not right now. I would hope that you would wait just a little bit longer. I know the urgency. I know we need to get there. I know that there are other prisoners that besides myself that you need to deliver to various places. I know we've got a schedule to keep and to make, but I wish you would wait just a little bit longer. You read it with me. Paul admonished them and said to them, sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not only of the lading of the ship, but also of our lives. But the captain disregarded everything that Paul had to say. You know, there are some folks that won't listen to anybody. There are some folks that do their own thing. They only listen to those who will pull them down. There are a lot of folks that won't heed the things that they need to. There are some folks who are in church today, but they're really not in church. I wonder how many are in this place but not in the race. I wonder how many were at, but not in the service. Some folks are watching by live stream today and not hearing a word that I'm saying. Some of you may be sitting there and you're catching every other word in between a little cat nap because you didn't get enough sleep last night. But listen to Paul. It looks bad, sir, from my point of view. I'm trying to show you. But listen to the captain. He said, Paul, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. You don't have 1 ounce of navigational skills. When were you at sea? Who taught you? Why, you don't even start to qualify as a rookie. You're a landlubber, and how dare you tell me to do what I'm doing? How dare you to tell me how to do my job? He paid Paul no heed, and he set out from Crete prematurely. And we look upon that and we say, I can't believe he would launch out prematurely. He launched out way too soon. But I can't criticize him too much because there have been times in my life that I launched out too soon. There have been times in your life that you launched out too soon. And there have been times when we jumped ship and when we jumped in too early. They fell into the midst of a raging storm. And the storm is identified as Euroclydon. And we're not talking about a through the night kind of storm. We're not talking about a storm that's going to be over in the morning. We're not talking about that kind of storm. We're talking about a life-changing storm. We're talking about a storm that's a granddaddy of all storms. It's a kind of wind that has a great fury that came out of the northeast. It came like howling wolves. The sound of it was eerie. The feel of it was like a nightmare. It did terrible things to the waves. They found themselves in the ship being kicked from wave to wave like a football. Giant waves would hover over the ship, and then all of a sudden fall down and crash down upon him and beat him to pieces. It lasted for 14 days. Now, I can't imagine. I'm at home and I'm looking outside and I'm seeing a storm go by and it's been 30 minutes, it's been an hour, it's been half a day, and I'm going, when will this storm be over with? But 14 days they were going through this storm without being able to see the sun or the moon the whole time. Now let's go on board with those sailors. Let's go on board. When it first started, the crew members hoped with all that was in them that it would soon pass over, that it would be soon done, but it wasn't. Somebody listening today is in a storm right now, and it hasn't been a storm that's been around for a little while, but you've been in that storm for a while. And you hoped that it would soon pass over, but here you are, and it's still hanging around. And in some of our lives, rather than the storm getting better, in spite of all of our prayers, in spite of all that we've done, in spite of all of our faith, in spite of doing our best to contact heaven, that storm is getting worse. It's getting harder. It's getting darker. I'm talking to somebody who's in one of those storms. The reason I know it, because I've been in those storms myself. The storms of life can come in so many different ways. Storms can get in your home and cause turbulence for you in your very home. The one place that ought to be the safest place in the whole world, in your home. But here you are in a horrible storm. Hell's going to burn hot for some homebreakers. Storms can get in your kinfolk. Now, don't start looking around and thinking about that kinfolk, but they can get in your kinfolk. It only takes one hard-headed kid to put the whole family in a storm. One disobedient Jonah put a whole ship and its crew in a storm. Storms can affect even our health. There are a lot of folks who have health-related storms. Some of us have storms in our jobs. Some of us are experiencing storms in our marriage. Let me just stop and tell you, it just takes one look. One look. A little look here or a little look there, and the devil has his hook in your jaw. When he has his hook in your jaw, he makes a fool out of you. Many times, everybody else can see it but you. But the list of storms keeps on going. On and on and on. But whatever storm you're in, it's still tough. It's hard. This was the worst storm these sailors had ever seen. And it kept on raging. Not a ray of hope in sight. Somebody feels like you're there today. The story goes that on the third day they started throwing out heavy cargo overboard. And there are some things you need to get rid of in a storm. If it's weighing you down, you need to get rid of it. If it won't let you float like you ought to float, you need to get rid of it. If it keeps you from church, you need to get rid of it and throw it overboard. If it keeps you from shouting, throw it overboard. If it keeps you from singing, throw it overboard. If it keeps you from the altar, throw it overboard. If it keeps your family torn apart, then throw it overboard. They threw heavy cargo overboard, but the storms kept on raging. Kept on raging. So they took down the sails because they couldn't go against the wind. And they just decided to float with a storm. It didn't look good for the home team at that point in time. It had gone on for almost 2 weeks. And Paul realized that the men had come to a state of hopelessness. It's over. Hope goes when you haven't seen the sun or the moon or the stars for almost 2 weeks. When you look and you look for some ray of hope and a ray of help and you can't see up and there's no brightness anywhere, it can move you to give up. The crew finally decided they couldn't handle it anymore, so they decided they were going to give up. From this side of the storm, I wish I could have talked to them. I wish I could have got on board and told those sailors, listen, don't give up. I know the end. I know the end game. I know what's going to happen. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't quit. Don't jump ship now. You're in the middle of the storm. This storm will pass. This storm will be over. Don't give up. I wish I could talk to them, but I can't talk to them, but I can talk to you. I wasn't there, but I am here, and I want to help you through your storm. It was at this point of helplessness that Paul decided to talk to the men. Everybody else and everything else was in total chaos. The only man on board who had a peace was Brother Paul. Everybody else was a nervous frenzy. Everybody else was scared to death. But Paul stood on board in total peace. He had peace in the midst of the storm. Now we can sing about never worrying. We can sing about never fretting. We can sing about it and it's not bothering me, but many times the song says it, but in reality we don't believe it. Hello. We sit here and we sing the song till the storm passes over. Everything is going to be wonderful. Everything is going to be fine. But we don't believe it, for we don't act like it. But Paul had a peace. He had a peace. God can give peace. Give peace. Paul spoke out and he said, now I like this. I like what Paul said. The first thing he said, I'm going to tell you. First thing I want you to know, you should have listened to me before you left Crete. I tried to tell you before you even let sail. I tried to tell you this was going to happen, but you didn't believe me. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen to me. Now look at the shape you're in. You're all in a mess, all because you wouldn't listen to me. So Paul said, I wish you'd listened, but we can't go back now. All we can do is wipe up the spilt milk. I wish you had listened to me. We wouldn't be in this mess, but since you didn't, that's water under the bridge. Right now, we're in the thick of things and we can't go back. Somebody in this room needs to put your past behind you. Somebody watching by the internet needs to put your past behind you. Somebody is carrying around a heavy load that you need to give to Jesus today. Today. So he says, in spite of you not listening to me, I sense you're on the verge of giving up. I sense you're on the verge of throwing in the towel, but listen to me. Be of good cheer. Don't give up. I know the wind is still blowing. I know the lightning is still flashing. I know the thunder's still rolling. I know the waves are still beating. I know your nerves are still shaking. I know your knees are still knocking, and you're not in a position to appreciate this. But something happened to me last night that I need to tell you. I had a visitor come to me last night. It was an angel of the Lord that came to talk to me. One minute he wasn't there. The next minute he was. One minute I didn't see him, but the next minute I did, and he stood by me. And that's where I want the angel to stand, not to the side. I want him right there beside me. I want him right there with me. And he gave me some inspiration, and he gave me some information that you need to know. I like the part about that angel standing beside me. If you need him, he'll be right there with you. Paul said an angel of the Lord spoke to me last night, and that tells me that all night and all day angels are watching over me. I believe in your time of anxiety, I believe in your time of depression, I believe in your time of despondency, I believe in your time of storm, God will send an angel to minister to you. He'll be right there for you. He'll give you what you need. He'll answer your prayer. He knows what you're going through, and he's going to take care of you. Now, it was exciting to visit with the angel. He said, but I got some good news for you. I got some good news. He told me that everything is going to be all right. Don't fret. Don't worry. Don't despair. Everything's going to be all right. In spite of the thunder, in spite of the lightning, in spite of the waves, the angel told me that everything is going to be all right. He told me that not one life is going to be lost. Now the ship is going to be destroyed and turned apart, but don't worry about it. Not one life will be lost. Everything you think precious will be gone, but not one life will be lost. Your precious cargo is going to be gone, but not one life is going to be lost. Your dreams may be shattered, but not one life is going to be lost. Oh, when the storm is raging, stand by me. When the storms of life are raging, stand by me. When the world is tossing like a ship upon the sea, thou who rulest the wind and water, stand by me. Be of good cheer. I'm here to tell you this morning, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're dealing with, an angel came and told me he's going to be of good cheer. He's going to take care of you. He's going to lift you up. He's going to carry you through. He's going to give you what you need. He's going to take care of you. Be of good cheer. You're going to make it. I'm going to make it. We're not going to be here through this storm all the time, but God is going to bring us through. I said he's going to bring us through. Be of good cheer. Somebody needs to hear it. Be of good cheer. Stand your feet across this place. Somebody in this room this morning needs to hear, be of good cheer. Be of good cheer. I'm in this room to minister to you, to give you what you need. Whatever you're facing, whatever you're dealing with, whatever storm that is in your life that has been raging and raging and raging, be of good cheer. You're going to make it out. You say, how much longer? I can't tell you. You might be in day 3. You might be on day 14. The storm's going to be over with. And when it's over with, you're going to be all right. You're going to come out stronger. You're going to come out better. You're going to come out great. It's tough to see right now when it's so dark around you and you can't see what's going on. But I'm here to tell you, It's going to be all right. An angel came by and said, be of good cheer. Be of good cheer. If you're in this room today and you've been facing a storm in your life and you need an answer. Now let me just tell you, I've told you time and again, if I've got a problem, I'm going to come to somebody who has an answer. And when they said they have the solution to my problem, do you think I'm just going to sit there and say, well, okay, as long as you got it, everything's going to be all right? No, somebody's got a solution to my problem. I'm going to them. In other words, he's in this room today, down at this altar, saying all you got to do is turn it over to me. Now, I'm not talking about coming down to this altar and saying, Lord, I'm bringing it to you. There it is. I've laid it on this altar. It's yours. I put one knee down, and by the time I get that one knee down, I'm taking the other knee down, and by the time it touches the ground, this other one's coming back up, and I'm getting ready to head back to my seat. And as I'm leaving, so wait just a minute. You didn't quite do it right now, Lord. I'm taking it with me. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about laying it before the Lord and saying, God, it's yours. Take it. I can't do it. You see, when we get our hands off of things and we turn it over to Him, that's when He can move in our lives. And He's in this room today to touch somebody and to minister to somebody. He's here to say, be of good cheer. Be of good cheer. Don't jump ship. Don't throw in the towel. I've got this under control. If that's you, and you need an answer from the Lord, whatever storm in life is going through, nobody's going to be down here delving into you and saying, well, what is this storm? That's between you and the Lord. He knows. But you turn it over to Him and say, Lord, it's in your hands. I'm trusting in you. If that's you, I want you to step out from where you are. Find your place down at this altar. Say, God, it's in your hands. I need you. I need you. Come on. Come on. Don't wait on somebody else. You got a need. It's not them. You're the one in need. Say, God, it's me standing in need of prayer. Not somebody else. It's me. Do you see where I am? Yeah, He knows where you are. He knows where you are. He knows what you're facing. He knows what you're dealing with. And He's able to give you the answer that you need if you just come. Step out. Anybody else? Anybody else? Now, how many of you have said or can say, I've been in a storm like that? You've been in a storm? Raise your hand. I've been there. Yeah. And when you were in a storm, do you remember what it was like when somebody came up beside you and gave you a word of encouragement? You remember what it was like when somebody came by and said, be of good cheer. It's going to be all right. You're going to make it. That's what needs to happen around these that are down at this altar. So I want us to gather around those that are down here at this altar as a church, as part of our body, part of our family. Gather around these, lay your hands upon them, and offer that encouragement, and pray, and lift them up. Some of you know somebody in your family, a close relationship or a close friend that's going through a storm. Come sit there for them. Say, Lord, I'm sitting in their place. I know they're not here, but I'm sitting there for them, knowing that you're able to carry them through. If that's you, come on down. Come on down. You know, there's some people that say, I'm a secret person. I really don't want everybody to know. You know, when I'm in trouble, when I'm dealing with some tough stuff, I want people to be praying with me. I want people supporting. I want people with me. So I want you as a church to gather around these that are down at this altar. lay your hands upon them. Call out to the Lord. Ask Him for a touch within their lives. Give the encouragement that you would like to have if you were in that storm. Call out to Him. He's our answer. Be of good cheer. Be of good cheer. It's going to be all right. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. Hallelujah.